Rig putty's rig putty, right? Wrong. Kryston, or Kryston, whatever you want to call them, actually came up with rig putty, or tungsten putty, in the 90s, early 90s. Took the carp world by storm, really. You know, people before that had been using shot all the time, and suddenly along came this high-density, soft putty that could be moulded into any sort of shape, ideal for pop-ups and everything. Now, in 2006, Kryston suppliers actually folded. They contacted quite a few different companies in the UK trying to source it, and they all said the same thing. Too smaller quantities, not enough profit, waste of time. Dave Chilton, the owner of Kryston Products, really believed in this product. So what he done is he approached the original company and bought the recipe off them. Now, it cost him a hell of a lot of money, and it cost him a hell of a lot of money in machinery and actually working out the best bond for it. Now, obviously, now he's making it himself. He managed to play around with it and come up with the perfect recipe. Now, this stuff's a hell of a lot more sticky. It's a lot heavier. It's actually the same weight as lead. Now, the original stuff was really hard and it made it really difficult to work with, whereas this stuff, you just take a piece, pull it off, and what you want to do is just work it. And it's made up of millions and millions and millions of tiny, tiny little granules. And what you're doing there is that the friction of stretching it, it's just warming it up enough so that you can do whatever you want with it, really. Now, obviously, there are tons and tons of applications for heavy metal. I've been using fluorocarbon leaders for the last year or so, and although fluorocarbon sinks on its own, a couple of sections of this tungsten on there can only help. What you do is you get a piece like that, flatten it around your line, and just twiddle it like you're sort of winding a watch, really. And the more you twiddle it, the warmer it gets, the warmer it gets, the more it stretches. Now, it didn't take too long, but obviously we haven't got loads of time, so there's the old blue Peter, one I made earlier. As you can see, you can get it really thin. You could even get it thinner than that, to be fair. Also, if you're using a soft braided hook link, they tend to sort of float up off the bottom. Now, what a lot of people do is they put a little blob there and a little blob there, and then all it does is floats up in the middle. So you just put one section halfway down the hook link. As you'll see, if I drop that in there, now obviously you've got to remember that this end would normally be attached to a lead, so it does float up, that's why. And you can see with that bit of putty in the middle, just keeps the whole thing down, other than that end, which would normally be attached to a lead. Another rig I've been playing around with a lot in the last year is the KD rig. Now it's a balanced setup, and what you do is when you're tying your knotless knot, you pull the hair out halfway down so it just sits out at a different angle, and you use that with a curve hook. It's a really aggressive setup. But anyway, what I'm trying to do with that setup is get the hook point to sit down like that, so it's just sort of resting on the bottom. So when the fish mouths it, the hook point's there, ready to nail them in the bottom lip. Now, obviously, with that setup, what I'd normally do is put a shot on the hair. Whereas with this putty, which I really, really like actually, just moulded a little bit around the hook there. And then if I drop that in the tank, it should sit lovely. Just like that, as Tommy Cooper would say. There's another little interesting application for it. Just winding it all the way down the hook link brings a whole new meaning to the term coated hook links. Just drop that in there, see how that sits. Lovely. So that's the heavy metal extra from Kryston. Absolutely superb stuff. It's available in green or brown or original. Now, the original's a little bit softer than these two, which just makes it a little bit easier to work with in the winter. One thing to remember about this stuff is it's 100% reusable. So a little tub of that is going to last a year.